6-minute podcast. Business, study, life.
We hear it all the time, right? Like, gotta hustle, gotta grind, put in those crazy hours if you want to make it big. Like, that's just the ticket to success. But, like, is it really, though? Is that the whole story? It makes you think, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you hear about, I don't know, some countries where everyone's working like crazy. Like, are they actually better off?
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're going deep on today. Digging into some serious research that asks the tough question. Do countries where people work, like a ton of hours, actually do better economically? Stick with us, and you'll have the info to make up your own mind, not just parrot what everyone else is saying.
Exactly. No more just going with the flow.
So, like, the first argument for putting in those long hours is kind of straightforward, right? More hours, more work gets done, more productivity. Makes sense, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's like if I bake cookies all day.
I like where this is going.
I'm going to have a ton of cookies. So that basic idea, it does track in some fields for sure.
Oh.
The research points to, like, finance.
Finance.
Tech, Places where you really need to, like, focus deeply for a long time to get stuff done.
Makes sense.
Like, you need those coding marathons or, to build these crazy financial models.
Right. So it's not like wrong across the board.
Yeah.
But then there's the whole, like, Japan and South Korea thing, right?
Yeah.
They're, like, famous for their work cultures, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's working all the time.
Yeah.
But they're also economic powerhouses, right?
Yeah.
So is that just, like, a coincidence?
It's a really good point, and that's where this idea of human capital investment comes in. It's basically saying that when people work more, they're probably picking up specific skills, becoming experts, which obviously makes them more valuable to the economy, right? Think about it. Like, have you ever gotten really good at something, gained some serious knowledge by just putting in the time?
Totally.
Like taking that online class after work or spending weekends, like getting better at something you love? That's human capital investment right there.
Like, I took Spanish, like years ago,
Right.
but I didn't really get fluent until I lived in a Spanish-speaking country and, like, I had to use it all the time.
You had to.
But, okay, let's be real for a second. We've all been there, right? Hitting that wall, feeling totally burnt out. Like, just the thought of work makes you want to, disappear.
Oh, yeah. And that's not just a feeling. That burnout has, like, real economic consequences,
Really?
Yeah. This research, they found that when employees get burned out, it can actually tank productivity by like 13%. That's a lot.
Wow.
Like, people make more mistakes, Motivation goes out the window. And that obviously has this ripple effect,
It's like a domino.
It's-
And even beyond just, like, getting work done, there's the whole happiness thing, right? No one wants to be miserable all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, this research, it points out that working too much can just make you unhappy. You're dissatisfied with your job. You're stressed out. It kind of makes you wonder, can a country really be successful, like truly thrive, if it's people are just burnt out and unhappy all the time? It's like, what are we even working towards?
Right, and it goes even deeper, right? Because is GDP, is that the only way to measure a country's success? Like, what about poverty, inequality, even the environment?
It's a good point.
It's possible, right, that countries where people work fewer hours are actually investing more in these other things. Like, they're aiming for a different kind of success,
It's like a different definition of success.
One that puts their people and the planet first.
Yeah. So we've looked at both sides of this whole long work hours debate. It's pretty clear it's not so simple, right? It's not just work more, succeed more.
Exactly. The thing that's so interesting here is that it's not just about how many hours you're clocking,
Oh, okay.
It's about what you're actually doing with those hours, like the quality of the work. And honestly, it goes even deeper than that. It's about what we value as a society. Are we all about squeezing out as much productivity as possible, even if it means people are miserable? Or do we want to find a balance, Let people have fulfilling lives, both at work and outside of work. That's the big question, right?
It really makes you think. So as you go about your week, think about your own work habits, your priorities.
Yeah.
Like, what does a good life, a successful life look like to you? Is it all about work? Or is there a balance you can strike? That's something we should all be thinking about.
Yeah, I think so too.
Some serious food for thought. Huh?
With food for thought.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll catch you in the next one.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
6-minute podcast. Business, study, life.